Oh, good morning. Happy Sunday. I pray and I hope for all of those who went to church this morning. You know, I spend most of the time doing my church on my page and talking about issue that matters uh, most. And I pray that people are picking up some of the what I'm saying to transform our native Liberia and transform the community of which I live. Uh, Being a community activist for vulnerable people, something that God uh, put in me. And when I got to know myself, I started with all of that, doing that until up to my uh, age now. I'm still concerned about people. And it doesn't matter who concerned about me, but what matters is that God and Jesus concerned about me most. That's what it is, because it is their work that I'm doing on earth, because that's what He called me to do. So I just want to thank God for all of you who follow me on Facebook and YouTube, that God will bless you. Because the moment you click into my page, and those who go there to go look for things to maybe get back at me, I leave them with God, right? But if you went there to make sense out of what I'm saying, and for Liberia, Canada, and America, everywhere the Spirit moved me to talk about, I will talk about political issues, spiritual issues, social, everything. I'm into it because God created me. And Satan think that he could suppress my life with financial and every other thing, and you think I'm going to be quiet. That's a lie. I will not. I will not be. Because God gave me the voice to use it for His people. And that's what I'm doing. And that's what I will do until He's ready for me. So there are some events that will be coming up concerning Isaac Yoyo. Still tuned for those events. It's a life-changing event that's going to be coming up. And I hope that you all prepare yourself for it. After saying that, yesterday you heard me on the title called Upriver. Upriver is the Liberian story. The story that made Liberia to be a unique nation and among the community of nations since 1847 up to 2024. But just right up to 1970, we had Liberia had previous crisis with president being mobbed to death, all kind of political situation evil are taking place in our country, operating on a one-party state for 130 years. And then after 130 years came the main independence of Liberia, because those that founded Liberia came from America, right? They came with a tradition. They came with a Western tradition and religious movement. Everything they brought it from America, and established a nation. And it was not very easy as we were talking about it. It was a struggle between they and the indigenous people that they met, because just how people talk about issue from generation to generation, issue of hatred, people hating each other for what they never understood. Somebody told them that, oh, your life is like this because somebody caused it. And then they just pick it up and they just kept it and some people will went through it until they got to realize the real thing. But as some of us, God, before I could do what I'm doing on social media, God prepared me as a child for that. And He sent me in the home of American Liberian to grow up. And I grew up with extreme love and appreciation, where the family brought me up on par, one-on-one disparity with the kid. There was no distinction between us except for my last name. And that's what brought Liberia up to this thing. And that group that came, obviously during those days, it was ship and boats that they were using, and not too many vehicles. So they they settled along the river bank of the Simple River. There were they settled, and then from there they begin to branch out to area like Bensonville, Carysbury, uh, uh, going towards Bombing Hills in Liberia. You have Addington, all the places on that side. There was all where they settled down, and most of them was concentrated in Montserrat County and Monrovia as a whole. And then the outside of Monrovia became the 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 the, the, the hinterland. We call it hinterland, where all south of Monrovia, you have indigenous population mix up. As time went by, these American Liberians invested in rubber farm. That was a major investment that the American Liberian got involved with, because after the Firestone contract with Liberia in 1926, they was in the they was controlling Liberia 100%. So they began the process of investing in rubber farming, where Firestone, became the world's largest rubber plantation. And at the time during World War I and World War II, the American government was facing two wars, and the rubber were intended to produce war equipment and other stuff. It became part of the American relationship with Liberia. So we got a very, very, very interesting history, that this is why I don't want people to forget, because the division that came to Liberia, it split the American Liberian and the indigenous, but few mischief politicians who did not look at the future of the country, but they were looking at bringing down a government, a group of people, and extinguishing them, and to extinct their generation for indigenous to take over. And they never even, those guys didn't even mention the idea of the high literacy rating, because when the settlers sat down, the main act of the main part of the education was among them, until when the indigenous begin to integrate and with them to the domestic servanthood, and the good one made sure that they went to school to learn their way around the home and other stuff. That was the in-depth of how it looked at, because they are different. When going to Africa, and white people, excuse my expression, when white people go there, the African look at them from a very level of high esteem, like people who rich, they got money, they're better than us, they are more, they look at them with a high esteem, the white people, when they go to Africa. So it's been a long time tradition up to the time the European came to foreign Africa, and along the Nile River, the European, when there were the civilization of the entire world started from the Nile River. And when the European begin to come to Africa, when they came to David Livingstone, and they came as missionary, they brought the Bible to Africa with something else underneath the Bible. Like one of my elementary school, junior high school teacher told us that they came and with the Bible, right? So Liberia, like the second time the Bible came, when the American Liberian came, they brought the Bible. And then when David Livingstone came, he came as even though he was a medical doctor. And according to our teacher, he said they brought the Bible, they used to preach. When they're preaching, they used to use the barrel of the gun as a pulpit. Like you got a pistol on here, got a Bible on top of it, and preaching it. And the pistol is pointing at the congregation, so the boy said, even though preach the Bible, but don't try us. Because they felt that they were African, they were cannibals, they would eat the white people, because the stories are off of Liberia, because when they came, their skin color and everything, and they brought smallpox. So at a certain point, the people felt that, oh, these people are the smallpox, and the smallpox was so sweet. It was smallpox, small fish, all those things. That tradition brought it to Liberia. And at one point, they decided to chase the American Liberian with that light color skin. They thought that they were smallpox. And we learned all of this joke during my elementary history, in some of the books that were written. And that's why I bring those things up, because the young generation don't know. The educational system is broken. Right from the death of October 1979 start going down. And because from 1979 we have military coup, we have a bloody military coup. Then from there we have a war that took 2 presidents. So everything started to go there. So that's why, when you heard me yesterday with speaking like that, it was how the American Liberians spoke, because they came from the South, and the way how the people speak in the South, because most of the people who settled Liberia came from the South, and the way how they speak, that same intonation, intonation that they brought to Liberia that was then, and Liberian people call them Congo people. But the reason why it became Congo people, the actual name is settler or American Liberian or pioneer. 3 nomenclature of how we call the people who came from Liberia. We have it can be settler, mean people who left from America to come settle in Liberia, or American Liberian, or pioneers. Okay, but the Congo people using it, they don't know. It's not actually Congo, it's Congo. Because after all of that resettlement, the conflict and everything, the transatlantic slave trade is the way that word called Congo people, that they refer to American Liberian, that's where it came from. Because when the slaves that were collected, and because in the Congo Basin, where you had the Congo Basin, where they had a dense forest, it was well known for growing cassava. The cassava that we eat in West Africa, and especially Liberia, is one of the Liberian major food. Cassava and rice. Rice is major, next is cassava. So both of the West African country and African country eat cassava a lot. So cassava was originally developed in the Congo Basin, where they got a dense forest. It was good, and the soil was good for growing cassava. So those people that were captured from the area and came, they settled down in the area when go Monrovia from Pinsville, then you had Congo time. So those people, apart from the one that came from America that were captured by Captain Stockton, and who were given the instruction to capture all slaves, that because after the slave trade ended, there was mischief slave trader that was still doing slave trade. So those ones, they were captured from the Atlantic Ocean by the American Navy. They were bringing them, and they settled down outside of the main, even though Monrovia, where you have the American embassy coming down there, is surrounded by the Atlantic Ocean. So they brought in all that. So they settled down there. They settled there, people from Congo. So they had a rough accent. The French, they were mixed up with French and other things, and the way how they talk. So that how everybody posed that the Congo people, so they put the indigenous people mix up those slaves that were collected from the sea, and the one that came from America, they put them on a category as Congo people. But the actual Congo, the people from Congo settled there. So from there, it just became a very widespread, and then the American Liberian those that came from America begin to inherit that name as Congo people. But the actual name for them, the ones that came from America, the American Liberian. So that's how the mixture came about. And that's how Liberia, like I said before, that's how Liberia became complicated. So this is how they used to talk. So that joke you saw me yesterday, the patanga bird, all the kind of thing, those were tropical food that came from the same Congo Basin, and then spread and went, and it became permanent in the Caribbean island, because this Liberia got a strong connection to Caribbean, because most of the people that settled in Liberia are people who came from Barbados and part of the island, and they came and because Liberia during those days, most of the stone houses that were in Liberia was built by people from the Caribbean. So that how come that food, that patanga bot and edibles and plantain, all of the thing was developed along the banks of the St. Paul River and all of the settlement where the American Liberian people live at the time. So that's how the talk. So I just decided to bring, and that way of speaking became part of the Liberian Renaissance. Because Renaissance refer to Asian antiquity. Asian antiquity. Something antique. It like this car, you love this car was built 2005. And then within 200 whatever year, 10 more or 50 more years from now, this car that I'm driving, the Toyota Highlander, become an antique vehicle because of the age. It lives from age to age. So during those days, like you go to Great Britain, if you see the picture of Great Britain, from the founding of Great Britain, when they started those buildings that they had, they maintained those buildings. So you see the churches. So the church at the time, people decided to look, especially the way how church building was built, it was designed, architectural design of churches was designed a way to interpret God when you see it. So that the building, when you go in there, you see all the picture, the architectural design in those churches. So over the years, after the years of Renaissance, was where you see those very expensive and nice architectural designs and other stuff. And we have those same kind of horses in Liberia, but the war destroyed, because when they came, the same horses that you see here were made with these plastic and wooden horses, all that kind of thing, with zinc on top. Some of them was built, the whole building was built with corrugated zinc. They brought the ideology from America. So most of the indigenous people used to call Congo people houses. So when they war came, all those houses, most of them disappeared. We're not able to preserve them as part of our history. But we got a couple of them. I see one in Painesville, other people. I hope that Joseph Boakai government will begin to, those few houses that are left in Liberia, what they call Congo people, all the way to Sano County, because those county along the Atlantic Ocean is where most of them settle. You got Maryland, you got Sano, because they got the seaport there, all the way down to Monrovia, coming down to Grand Bassa County. So those houses, government we need to raise the country economy, because we need to preserve a lot of stuff for the young generation, because those children, all they know that the past politicians turned the indigenous against the American Liberian, and that stereotype is in their head. Congo people, they don't even want to see those houses because it belonged to Congo people. And that's what has brought the split in Liberia, and I have made Liberia very difficult, to recover and rebuild, because the illiteracy rating became very, very bad off because of all of this social crisis that came about. And now that the most appropriate president for Liberia after post-war Liberia has now become Joseph Boakai. Joseph Boakai came from the hinterland, according to his autobiography, portion of what I read lately about him. He came from Lofa County. He and his mother walk by feet. We're talking about maybe 45 minutes plane ride from Lofa to Monrovia. So plane 45 so means he had to walk on his feet. And his mother brought him. And those days, our people, the indigenous people, those who wanted the children to be educated, they would bring them to the American Liberian home and ask them to please send their children to school. Obviously, then you begin to live a domestic servant in those homes, and for you to gain education. That's how most of the indigenous children were able to get education in the country. So that's how Joseph Boakai came. He didn't tell me that I go deep into it, but from what I heard, I just want to assume that what happened, because he grew up in the home of the American Liberian, the present president. So he grew up with that renaissance of administrative structure in Liberia, where he grew up on a strict discipline. He was not allowed to do anything wrong, neither to even, because sugar, when you steal sugar in the morning, when they finish flocking you and locking you up, in the house, you know where you come from. So even sugar, you're not allowed to. So, and people from Lofa and Bon County in Liberia, they are the more armored people when it comes to our country. The whole of Liberia, two counties, Lofa and Bon County, are the more humble in the Republic of Liberia. And Joseph Boaka coming from Lofa County and connected with the Kisi tribe. The Kisi tribe is connected to Sierra Leone. So they got Lorman people connected to Sierra Leone, and on the other side, the border with Liberia, they got their group they're connected to with. So Lofa County got people who connected to both Sierra Leone and Lofa and what they call it? Yeah, Sierra Leone. Yeah, Sierra Leone and Guinea. So you see, we got a very complicated society that different people can brought different culture and ideology that got mixed up with Liberia. Got the country today is confused, except a country of Sean that when Torba came in, Torba decided to change that narrative of Liberia, where he decided to eliminate a high rate of illiteracy with his policy of eradication of ignorant disease and poverty. That was a major policy or toward to rescue the indigenous Liberians and bring them to civilization, and make sure to give them opportunity to enjoy their country as Liberian, that there should be no, they try to break that era of segregation. That's what Toward decided to do, and he knew that it couldn't be done with all, education, because the indigenous people were traumatized by their own children against the American Liberian. So, but when you educated, you know yourself, you know how to determine between good and bad. So nobody can easily influence you to do something that will be, against your life. Okay? Like me, I grew up in the American Liberian home, and they brought me up with equilibrium of our lives together with the children. No segregation. We made cassava farm, we made rice farm, we made sugarcane farm. And all of the children and all of us worked on equal disparity on the farm. They divided up between evening school and morning school. So when the morning school going to school in the morning, we the evening we go on the farm to work. When our time come, when it time come for us to go to evening school, morning school already coming for school, they preparing to come take over for us to relieve us from the farm, and we go to school in the evening to go to evening school. We'll start there something like maybe 1 a.m. or 1 p.m. in Liberia up to 4 or 5 or 6 o'clock the evening. So when we come back, that, and then when we come back home now, everybody go to bed, we interact, we do all the other chores. Next morning school going, evening school getting ready to go on the farm. And then when evening school come to get ready, morning school getting ready to go on the farm. That's how our parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jemima Thompson Parker, that's how they arranged our life in their home. There was no segregation. So that's why you see me, I try to fight for the American Liberian, so that we can maintain that Renaissance, so that it can be part of our culture, not in the negative format, but in the positive way that things happen that we didn't have control over. It just happened, and because the majority of the country, 90% illiterate, so they were able to traumatize them, against the American Liberian, and today there we are. And then we got our own indigenous boy who grew up in the American Liberian home, and now have become president. Now he's deciding to do the right thing, and none of those guys passing around there from George Weah grew and everybody indigenous, they will not understand what the old man trying to do, because everybody have decided to go in when they go to school, after school, to go and steal. It's something that started gradually in that country, like that job. Now it become permanent. So Ellen Johnson, if God didn't want us to know certain things about our country, Ellen Johnson would have never turned our country over to George Weah, because she know that George Weah will not competent in one step to even be office boy or even cleaner in the office. He learned how to play soccer as a juvenile. He was part of the Liberian juvenile delinquency because that one of the major problems all the community in Liberia. So children who were just flying around, they didn't have any parental control. Even though they had parents, they were on their own in the street. They survived in the street. That was Joe Weaver. And when he survived in the street, he put his time into playing soccer. And he became the best. It took him to the world best. But it did not make him to be president because he didn't have the academic qualification and mental capacity to handle a country after such a deadly war. What needed to be done as a president, he was not there. Then he brought in his group of friends. Who should I help him? When I went to Monrovia, I went to all the offices that know me. All the questions I asked, and people think I'm not against George Weah. We're trying to nail him the way that for him to come to his senses and enjoy the presidential immunity and keep quiet. And the thing that he never owned his life, wherever money got, let him start developing. That's what I expect him to do. He should allow people to push him. He's supposed to be telling them, let us push for education so you can go to school. They go to the University of Liberia and learn nothing and come outside, buy that degree and come outside and run into offices, put on heavy coat suit and go look for a job. You got to say the way how I say it so that people can know that something wrong with them. So they don't try to correct it with the least opportunity. And the old man, Boaga, is an opportunity God now, and I like the stand that he's taking against corruption. And we have to pray for that old man to go against impunity. All of those people in the correct, they should go beyond bars, so that the generation after him will know that when you steal government money, you go to jail. But everybody ransack the country money because they know that nothing will happen to them. But now Joseph Boaga turned the change. It looks stranger than that. What they're making noise. But we will fire the pressure. Me, that has my mind on, because they got a lot of gun shooters in our country. They had gun shooter before, and then 14 years of war, all the babies and everybody turned to rebel. And now those same rebels, some of them have become old, and some the one that was very young, they in that middle age class group, what they call youth now. That the children of the rebel or the small soldiers that fought the war in Liberia, 14 years war. And those ones who are CEO in their 20s, they are not in their 50s going up. So all the government officials in the 50s are up. They are all people that come from the battlefront. And on the battlefront, they were used to taking everything. No Liberian owned anything during the 14 years war. It was rebel. They will take your money, they will take your wife, they will take your children, everything by force. So it's embedded in their DNA to take money or things that don't belong to them. So you put them in offices, they're going to it because everybody want to get rich overnight. And they don't know that you're supposed to work hard and get salary. From your salary, you can develop yourself. But the developing themselves offer the country money, and the rest of the children, who that some of them are own children in the street, their own kids are in the ghettos. I don't say they say. I don't talk something because God connected me to when I visited ghettos with tears. Some of the children said that from Cottington, they ran off a university. But because they're dealing with this spirituality, that was keeping their answer. They said the boy told me the boy from Cottington, and for his articulation, I know that he educated. But he said, Father, you got to help us because I graduated from Cottington. When I come, I go home to my parents. My parents are good people. They got money. But the thing that can bring me, I don't know, because that spiritual one, they come here, all of this, what they call the commanders of the various ghettos are all or commanders of the general that fought the war in Liberia. So all of the head of the ghettos are people that are combatants. So all the children that in the ghetto in Liberia, they are all combatants. They are all arm carriers. They got illegal arms. All of them. And the boy told that you did it. And I say in one of my videos, how the girls are used to scan over the drugs so that anybody who take that drug will come back to buy it. I said, they say, I got a video running on social media that when I visited the ghettos, that's why I know anything I say, I'm connected to it. That's why when I started, people didn't fight. But when people started seeing things, and last time I talked about King Saul army. King Saul army was one of the additional traditional fraternity they had to deal with corrupt people and bring bad people in the community to check. And they were members, and nobody knew the member. It was a high class society group to bring people. And I think we need to set up one again back in Liberia. That King Saul army. To go for corrupt people. In the night, you find a letter in your door. You either return that money or you get ready to go to the graveyard. That's why I always tell you people, God took civil action against the impunity of witchcraft that had engulfed Israel at the time under King Ahab. And God took impunity measure. But he gave them all the opportunity to change, to make a change. He didn't just come and start destroying them and bring Elijah to destroy them. He gave them all. He sent a prophet to preach to them everything. They never listened. And God said, okay, you know what? You listen, that clear them up so that Israel can develop. Then the other rest of the world will develop. So that ideology of the King Saul army came from that kind of setting. It was a religious group of people who went to the high end of religious order that ordinary people don't have access to. So decided to do that. And if people think they're going to get Oben Boaga problem, let them wash out. Because Oben Boaga is protected because he grew up in the church. And all his life, just how he been, unless he been going to church all his life. And he know God. And God is with him. And he's going to crush, we're going to help to crush all the corrupt people in that country. That's why I told him in my video yesterday, go and make arrangement. Or the government should announce an account for people to secretly take the money back there. It must happen. So that's part. I just decided to take time to read. So that renaissance of the people that came from America, Matine, the way of talking, that why you saw me trying to interpret the way how to talk and all the kind of thing. I'm making come manner. Con is the short form for cousin. Cousin James, cousin John. But it's a con John. Auntie or cousin Jemima. Cousin Thelma. Cousin Rhoda, but because of that intonation, the way how to pronounce from the south, because they grew up with the rough something, the way how to speak, that sudden way of speaking, that what came to Liberia in that group that formed themselves along the bank of the St. Paul River, and they were speaking that they spoke the English, but that was Old English. They had something what they call Old English. The days of the Old English, that where the people came in. And I decided to bring the thing up to maintain the Renaissance of Liberia, what made Liberia to be a unique country. People who came from abroad to form the one that they didn't go, they collected them, and because Liberia at the time was the only free country, independent country, so all the slaves they collected, whatever country they came from, they brought them to Liberia. And they brought all their different DNA, and that DNA got mixed up among the very two very relational and contact. That DNA remain and got mixed up because your DNA come from, if you come from Congo and your generation came down and had a child or Liberian, an American Liberian or Liberian that met the indigenous Liberian, that DNA that you come from, it called you, and there's all kind of DNA that colliding together, and it became worse. The war, the 14 years war made it worse to make us the way how we all look, the stupid people that we don't know what we're doing. But because of lack of education and many years of conflict and political upheavals. So thank you for listening. This is a historical reflection of Liberia, what I learned from elementary school. And there's some other historian or Liberian that been talking so many issues, but most of the issues they're talking about already knew them. How the issue of the settlement, how Cruiserville, Curiousburg, all of the places, those were the places that had those southern states in America, the kind of houses they had there. That's the same ideology they brought in Liberia, and where they live, you find those things. But during the war, people went against those houses because it was owned by Congo people. So they broke it down. They demolished the houses, and because after the war, there was no production of wood and other kind of things. So they broke the houses down because the houses were strong. They were built with strong wood that termite could not even destroy. So people took it after the war to build our houses with. They took it down, took the wood and the zinc to build houses. And before everything started coming to itself, and the companies are coming, when the war subsided, then people, zinc and Seti brothers, they started bringing in zinc into Liberia, and that's how it happened. And so this is what it is. This is what our country is. So morning, Follett Gibson, morning to you guys. So this is a historical reflection, something I learned from ABC, from elementary school up to high school, and then the rest of the I got connected. I always been connected to, I was highly, connected with Torah. Unfortunately for me, they didn't live that long, and also, but at least I saw what he did. My time we experienced why Torah decided to recover our country and unite it, So I don't know. I got another video that coming up, something that historical recording of what caused, what brought about Firestone, what brought about all of this. The reason why Liberia was not colonized by France. I mean by the French people. I will come up with another video with that story. What happened and how Hilton Van E. she gave one of these years we done it 91, 90 something, 96, 90, 94, 95. She was Independent Day orator for that independent 1996 or 1997. I was such a when she gave that speech, and I listened to the speech from start to finish. Hilton Van E. How Firestone came about, how the issue, of the Liberia fighting for their integrity and their independence. And that speech, that Firestone contract was part of why Liberia, the step that Liberia took to maintain our integrity as a country. Other than that, we would have been under a French rule. And those guys say, we cannot come from slavery and go under this group. So, girls, I'm a father of all girls. I will tell you something today. Be careful with men who putting money on you. I'm not talking about people who helping people to feed. No, not talking about that. I'm talking about hustling around men to give money, because when somebody give you a lot of money free all the time, it's not really free. That's something they want. So be careful how you take money from men. If you don't like them for loving, when they offer you money, say, no. So girls like that, they won't take money from people because they know, first of all, when you offer them money, they know what in the back of the mind, what you're looking for. And that's why God Liberia to be saved today. That story coming up sometime during the week. I will organize because I got to get a very historical date that Hilton, I want to get a year that Hilton Vanity delivered that message. I listened to it from start to finish. It was very, very, very emotional and rewarding and historical. That speech that she gave. What made us to maintain Liberia today as an independent state. It's coming on next. Have a blessed day, and may God bless you. Let us pray for Omen Boakai to restore our country during his time. We got to pray hard for him, because he's the only one that got the nerve, because he's corruption free. Omen Boakai is the only man in the Republic of Liberia that stopped his wife. That woman that you see with him today, that they met in school as children together, that the same woman there. That the woman there, he said, government car, after office hour, it's not supposed to be used. It was packed. Omen Boakai, I want to see one Liberian for HO to come up beside Joseph Boakai that said government car should not be used. After office hour, he denied his wife of using it for the right reason. And today, he president. So you think what you going to do? That thing what the noise they're making there. So now we become rough, we use rough word. But I feel sorry for them. I actually feel sorry because I know what the problem is. Joe, we are that whole group. I knew all of them. One Liberian, I will go into the offices. What you're doing to help your man? All of them who know me, they know. They will not, Liberian people will not say certain thing about who. I said, what you're doing to help your man? Pepsi. He said, oh, my man, we're trying to... And Pepsi, mean, will open... He was the one that opened rather dependent on. And he was one of those I asked. Man, Mr. Richmond Toby, my former church mate. All of them, what you're doing to help him? Because I knew that open needed help. So when you hear me talking, I'm not just talking because I'm off. I went to Liberia and made an effort to encourage them to help him. Not for corruption. Because I couldn't say directly that you got to help to make sure that there shouldn't be any, because that was the, but I said it indirectly. What are you guys doing to help him? I asked Messi that question. I asked Richmond Toby, and all of them who I knew that were in the government, I asked them that question because I went to most of the ministry, health ministry, finance, or what they call education ministry, and I raised hell there. I stood in the middle of all of them and raised hell. And everybody came to a full stop. All the ministry I went, I put people to a full stop and raised hell there. So you don't just things are talking on air for nothing. People will remember. They in that already. They will remember. Oh, 1901 public here. And I know they know that brain people can't forget. I raised hell. In the last place where I raised hell, what I thought of myself, things kind of say myself, I don't care. What you see, what you call revenue, Liberian Revenue Agency? Oh, they took 25,000 for me between the post for 7 vehicles. But I stood in the middle of LRA and I descended my heart. I wanted for the head to come outside. That's what I'm making that noise for, so that we can deal with, so she can say she'll call police on me. That's what I wanted. But they were smart. Ha! I put the whole, I shut it down for the time I was speaking. And I collected my people. I said, I don't want no other people bringing, let the money stay. I will leave. I will leave and go. And I left. And one guy, everywhere you speak, the other people, they appear in their faces. But one guy came and voiced it, he pepped my shoulder. He said, Papi, thank God for you. Where you coming from, God will be with you. I've been here. I seen things there. I tell them, the things there, they call me names. But different person who come from different part of the world to come here today like you, God will bless you. That was, and I walk out of there. I took all my people. I went to the office. I said, you give me all my documents. Whatever you're told, you can have it. I don't care. But you will hear from me. And all of the things will hear me backing on Liberia. I'm not just talking because I want to talk. I experienced it there. And we're talking about $3 million investment to start an investment in Liberia were put at stake by corrupt people. So what you think? You think I will not, if I will, oh God, help me. I will go just to shake the old man's hand, get by and play and come back to Canada. Just to shake his hand, get it. Because me, I'm looking for government job because I don't know who gonna sit in that seat. Trust me. Who will sit in that seat? I said, I will make just, the old man start making that seat hard already. That's why I'm so happy. But God will multiply his age. God will give me the strength to restore our country for his grandchildren, for our grandchildren, so that tomorrow when they go, they will see Liberia. Foreigners will not take our country. They will not. Never. It will not happen. So bless you. Let's pray for our country. In the name of the Father, Son, and the blessed Holy Spirit. I pray with thanksgiving. For that, God bless the family for being with me. Bye.